I'm Jessica Clay. I am the minister of First Parish, Brewster Unitarian Universalist.
And I'm John Myers, a retired history professor and sort of the church historian. Harwich went from the Orleans line to the Dennis line. Everybody had to go to church. You had to go to church, and you had to pay taxes that went to the church, whether you were whatever. Well, the church and the state were one. It was a state church, and it was that until just after the War of 1812. Mm-hmm. Okay, we know the first church was built around 1700, but we have no idea what it looked like. No description. We don't have any idea of what it looked like, and it had no pews. People had to stand or bring something. The only pew was for the minister's wife. And that church lasted for about 23 years, and the town decided they needed a bigger church, so they built the second one in 1723. This is the way the pews looked on the second church, and the people that had the pews.
Because people bought pews then?
Oh, you had to. Yeah, they paid for pews up until Civil War period.
What about the old men? Did they pay for them? Because there's a section that says old men's seats.
Yeah.
And then old women's seats.
And did you notice the pews? Here's the pulpit, and there's people sitting.
Right. Were those the really...
Those were
yeah, Elijah Cobb. There you go.
Yep. Then, after a few years, I've forgotten, I have him here. They cut the church in half and moved one section and added stuff in the middle, and they had a steeple 110 feet on the west side toward Breakwater. And then that church lasted for until 1823. 1834, and the church was in tough shape. And when they tore it down, a zillion bats flew out. In 1747, they split. So this was North Parish, North Precinct, South Precinct. Then when Brewster was formed in 1803, there was all kinds of fusses about money and this and that and the other thing. You know, even if you weren't going to First Parish, it's part of the history of Brewster. And there wouldn't have been a Brewster, without an established church. And that's the way it is in all these Massachusetts towns. You had an established church, and they were congregational churches, not Unitarian.
Our history tells us who we are, and our history tells us how we've been. And I think that for a lot of people right now, there is a feeling of this is the worst it's ever been. And we've actually been pretty bad at other times too, and I think we have a way of erasing the bad parts of our history and distancing ourselves from them. And I think it's important to tell the full story of humanity, and to recognize that everyone has a different version of that story. And I want to say, as Unitarian Universalists, claiming the fullness of our history is important, because we are a denomination who has long said we are committed to multiculturalism, we are committed to diversity, yet we still remain completely white. I think being a member of First Parish Brewster UU will transform your life. It will challenge you, it will make you grow, it will connect you with others, and it will allow you to experience what it means to be fully known and fully welcomed however you are, and to question that and to discover it. And also, if you come in and you're just looking for comforting, we will comfort you, and then we will nudge you a little bit too. So I think that the church is a place of radical transformation where we get a chance to imagine what it means to create the kind of community that we yearn to see around the world. A community of tolerance, a community that speaks out against hate, a community that says we all have work to do and we're in this together, and a community that says that each person's spiritual path can look different, but we are committed to it because we know that in committing to it and committing to each other, we're transformed in the process. And Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of building the beloved community as if it's this thing that we aspire to, a community of equity and justice, which is certainly not present in the world today, and yet you see these little pockets of people striving towards that. And I think that's what this represents, because I think it's needed for everyone who is yearning to find a place where they can be fully themselves and be welcomed in. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to First Parish Brewster. We are a Unitarian Universalist welcoming congregation of people of diverse philosophies and beliefs, people of various cultures and races, sexual orientations, gender identities, abilities, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your path, may this be a place of rest and restoration.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Sure.